Takeoff, one third of the award winning rap trio, the Migos, has passed away, according to reports. Earlier this morning, he was at a bowling alley celebrating a private party in Houston, Texas, where he was shot, by some accounts, in the head or neck and lost his life. Tonight, we are going to discuss some of the details surrounding his unfortunate passing, but we're also going to discuss some of the bigger issues, meaning, is being a rapper one of the most dangerous professions in America, and should it be? There are many of us who have been taking a look at hip hop, I'm talking about from the early 90s, wondering why we have seen this spate of violence. I have done so many shows on this YouTube channel asking the question about why is premature death something that it seems like is very common among Black men. And I've done shows with Harrison Family Values and others talking about health and premature death. But tonight we're talking about gun violence and whether or not we, meaning the Black community, perhaps has taken too long to speak up and speak out about violence in our music. And how can we better educate, stop, motivate our young men so that they are no longer victims of senseless violence? I'm here tonight with Mandrell 211 from the Black Man Unfiltered Network. He's going to give me his opinion, but if you're just joining me and you did not see this headline, this was all over social media today. Prayers up for Migos rapper Takeoff, dead at only 28 years old in Houston, Texas. When you were, or hopefully as you were reading some of the headlines, and if you haven't, don't worry, we'll get you up to speed. And welcome, please leave a comment in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Sad-ish show tonight. We have about an hour. I'm going to try to go strong. But as I was saying, I had this show. Shout out to Harrison Family Values and Bernard S. and others who joined me on this show that helped me talk about the health epidemic among Black men. And the list for this show was more so men who were dying in their 40s and 50s, Black men who had untimely deaths due to health crises. Of course, DMX had substance abuse addiction, Biz Markie, Black Rob, Shock, G, Prince Marky D, Gift of Gab, and the list goes on. Coolio, rest in peace, is who the show was really centered around. But as I talk about tonight's topic with you, and I hope you will leave your comments. If you're watching Team Replay, hit the like button and leave a comment below the video. I'm curious as to why you think, or if you think, this pandemic, the one of gun violence in the Black community, can actually be stopped. This is another cause, as I went over in that show, Black men and premature death. Go back and watch it. One of the leading causes, depending on the age ranges that you looked at, was gun violence. We don't like to talk about it because it's another form of what my brother, I want to paraphrase him, but he can speak for himself, Officer Nathan Daly calls the serial killers among us. Now, not my words, and Officer Nathan Daly, you can come clear it up. But if we're really talking about people whom we need to reach, oftentimes they are within our own community. And many of the most influential ones are those in the music industry and in the hip hop community. But as we look at this list, y'all take a quick look. How many more do we have to go? Young Dolph, Lil Keed, XXX Tentacion, brother from right here in South Florida, Juice WRLD, King Von, Matt Miller, Nipsey. Can't even keep going. PNB Rock was the latest one, and now Takeoff. These are just in the last 4 years. So there's a real issue happening among our men in the music industry, and I'm so glad Mandrell, I don't put 211 is coming here to help me unpack why. And of course, your opinion, my speakers, is most important to me. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button, would you? I will be discussing various topics, personal developments, politics in the next few days. I have to travel a little bit out of town because of a funeral, but beyond that, I love to explore topics that have an impact on our lives, whether it's you personally, whether it's how you think about being a member of your own community, how to improve yourself, how to improve your relationships. We do a lot of that here on the Suzette Speaks Show. So as you come in, please hit the like button, why don't you? And help me welcome my guest, none other than Mandrell 211. Hey, Mandrell, how are you?
Hey, Suzette, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Glad that you were here. I'm glad you said yes. We were looking for a topic, y'all, but this unfortunately kind of fell upon our laps. And we're going to talk a little bit about whether being a rapper is actually the deadliest profession in America. And we're going to have some open discussion. I'm going to drop the link in just a little bit. But Mandrell, I want to start by introducing you. How are you, brother? And tell us what you do here on YouTube.
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I have a show called Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu. Shushu is my younger sister. It's 8:30 on Wednesday nights on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. That's the YouTube channel. And we talk about various topics, everything from finance to current events. We don't really talk about dating and relationships much. I think we only did that once. There's plenty more than enough content about that on YouTube. So we talk about pretty much everything else. And hopefully we educate people at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, glad you're here, Mandrell. I want to jump right in because I know we had about an hour or so. So tell me what you thought when you first saw the headline today.
Par for the course, isn't it?
Mm. Wasn't phased. Hey, Black Man
At
Unfiltered Network.
all.
Thank you for being here. So you
Wasn't phased
thought
at all.
another one, another day.
Yep.
It's not sad. Like I don't want to. It's
That
not
is
just
sad in
how you
itself.
felt, but
My
you're not
reaction is my
probably
reaction is sad. I agree.
you're
My
not probably
reaction,
alone in feeling that way
right.
because a lot of people probably felt like, okay, here we go again. We just aren't we tired of putting up RIP this one and RIP that one? These
Mm-hmm.
are real human beings with real lives, real families, real sons, daughters, uncles, fathers, whatever they may be. And they become hashtags so quickly and then so quickly forgotten. But were you a Migos fan?
I've heard a little bit of their music. I wouldn't say I was a fan, but I did enjoy some of their songs.
Okay. So when you think about this topic, whether or not being a rapper, and I see some comments, thank you. Y'all keep the comments coming. Let me read a few. How are you guys? Welcome, welcome. Hit the like button. Common sense expert says it's not a profession. I believe it's the poor decisions being made. You can't be a millionaire in the club taking broke people money. This is another thing. The headline, and let me kind of go into the story for those of you who don't know. Homicide investigators with the Houston Police and medical examiners with the Houston Forensic Science Center were early this morning at the downtown bowling alley where Migos rapper Takeoff was shot and killed overnight, says one reporter, Taisha Walker. This is what really grabbed a lot of us, which was that Migos rapper was shot and killed last night during allegedly a dice game, which again, I thought of all the things, and again, a lot of the details are still coming out, guys. Hit the like button as you come in. We could be doing and the conflict that can arise, from a dice game. It's almost like it's the most trivial yet such like it's insubstantial in a life of a millionaire rapper, but yet it's not. What were your thoughts when you saw that part of the story?
Um, you really want to know?
I do. I
All right.
do.
Just all right. I'll clean it up for you. Just some knuckleheads arguing over a dice game, and and he gets shot. A millionaire losing heckling over 7 grand.
So what
That's what
did you
got
hear was
me.
the story about the money? So people fill in for people who did not
Right.
get some of the details.
They were playing dice, and the guy from the Migos was losing. His nephew,
Take
the one
off.
who was, yeah,
Hmm.
the nephew, the one who was, you know, shot and killed. He was just caught in the crossfire. He wasn't
Okay,
playing
pause. I'm
dice.
sorry. So Quavo, there are three members of the Migos: Offset,
Mm-hmm.
Quavo, and Takeoff. And
Yeah,
Takeoff,
Takeoff.
who we were talking about, who lost his life, is the nephew of
Mm-hmm.
Quavo, whom he's in a rap group with. So it's like an uncle
Right,
and a nephew. I just want to fill that in for people who may not know. Thank you, RM, for being here. Hit the like button, y'all.
right.
So it was actually the uncle Quavo who was in the
It was,
argument.
yeah,
Uh,
he was there playing dice. He was playing dice. He was losing. He was down $7,000, and he starts talking aggressively, and a fight. They got into a fight, and hijinks ensued, and unfortunately, Takeoff was hit several times.
there are two other people that were also injured.
Yeah,
Takeoff was the only one
24
that
year old
lost his life.
man, 24
Hmm.
year old man, and a 23-year-old young lady. and they were rushed to the hospital. They lived.
Yeah, and I see this comment. Thank y'all for dropping your comments in the chat. Welcome if you're watching on Facebook. Suzette Speaks here with Mandrell 211, asking, what is our community reaction supposed to be when we see these type of senseless deaths in our community? So two people are arguing, two men, not even the person involved allegedly in the argument
Mm-hmm.
being the one that lost his life, but just someone who was there in that group. Miss AKA Lady says, there is a misconception that only women are emotional. This situation is an example of a man being overly emotional. Some men get really violent when extremely upset. That is a terrible emotion. There's even diagnosable, like people who have like overblown reactions. I didn't even realize that stuff is in the DSM, which is the diagnostic manual for psychological and mental health disorders and issues. But yeah, there are people who definitely cannot keep their cool, if you will. Hey, Queen Regina. 007 says, this isn't shocking. Broken Heart says, 40 Boom, welcome. Hey, Sandy B. Law. Good evening. How are you? Miss Globe Girl, great to see you. I know they say I did do too much shout outs, but I got to say hello to my folks. And Black Man Unfiltered says, Takeoff was not the target. He was in the way. Again, for you guys just joining, we are discussing what has been one of the major headlines today. According to the Houston Police Department Lieutenant Salazar, 40 to 50 people were at a location when a shooting took place. The party reportedly ended at 1 a.m. but carried over until this incident occurred. Investigators say they found multiple shell casings on the third level. It looked like it was almost like in a mall-ish upstairs outside the bowling alley and the pool hall. So I'm going to ask you, there are two questions I'm going to present tonight, and I'm going to drop the link now. Anybody who wants to come up and give us some of your feedback. So, number one topic being, does rapping have to be, or is it the deadliest profession in America? And if it is, does it have to be? Good evening for those of you joining. Hit the like button if you want to come up, join the conversation, talking about gun violence in the Black community. When will it end? Are we actually promoting it by enjoying some of this more violent music as well? I want to talk about a quote by actor Lakeith Stanfield. He posted about why gangster rap is anti-black, basically, because it's promotion of killing Black bodies. But this is the other question: does the Black community tolerate senseless violence in rap music? So I know there are so many genres of rap. I'm not talking about the old school hip hop where we used to have storytelling and people just talking about their life. I'm talking about the changes that we've seen, especially in the last 5-10 years or so. Good music has gone from the fun in the club, the dance, the romance, to literally how much people can I shoot and kill and sing about. So are we to blame, Mandro? Hey, Black Man, I see you in the back. Are we to blame from enjoying
No.
and staying up on the music?
Well,
Staying
here's the
entertained?
thing.
Mm,
Kind of. I'll say kind of. Like in this case, um, Takeoff, he was just in the crossfire and got hit, But that's normally how it happens. Normally the two people involved normally don't get hit. It's the innocent people who are just there. But are we to blame? Yes and no. And one way that we're to blame, because rappers, when they rap about these things, they normally rap about things that they see,
yeah.
which is in their environment. So you can't really blame them for that. That's what they know. So
Mm.
so rap is still about storytelling. They're just telling the stories that they see every day and the things that they know. So in that regard, we can't really blame them. Also, what's going on?
No, I want you there by yourself. It's okay. You
Okay,
you
no
have the
problem.
floor.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Also, rappers have talked about wanting to do positive music and stressing to the labels that they want to do positive music, and they write songs with positive, that are positive. But the record label executives tell them, no, you can make that record if you want to, but we're not gonna produce it. We're not gonna distribute it. We're not gonna advertise it. We want you to sing this kind of music. This is what we want. We're paying you for. This is what we're paying you for. This is what you're gonna provide us. And so a lot of these record labels, they normally rap about things that they see. Which is in their environment. So you can't really blame them for that. That's what they know. And so in that regard, we can't really blame them. Also, rappers have talked about wanting to do positive music and stressing to the labels that they want to do positive music, and they write songs with positive, that are positive. But the record label executives tell them, no, you can make that record if you want to, but we're not going to produce it. We're not going to advertise it. We want you to sing this kind of music. This is what we're paying you for. This is what we're paying you for. This is what you're going to provide us. And so a lot of these record labels, pigeonhole creatives into producing the product that they want them to do. So a lot of these rappers don't have the opportunities to make the kind of music they want.
So,
So
it's not a
and
matter of
that
will. It's being shaped by, in your opinion, a lot of what the executives at major labels are saying, and maybe also by extension, therefore, what the market is. I don't know
well,
if it's what the market's demanding or just by
well,
product of what they're telling you to make. We have
well,
to listen to, and that's what's on major radio, major everything.
yeah. But the thing is, in that regard, we're not to blame, but we are to blame because we do buy it, and therefore, like we create the market for this kind of music.
Hmm.
You feel me? So we
Yeah,
don't have to. If we don't like it, then we don't have to buy it.
absolutely. I was struck by some of the comments I saw. I mean, so many celebrities chimed in on this. There was a lot of heartfelt people that knew him, um, intimately. Some of the posts about it. It was really sad. Jamel A. Hill, who was a noted journalist and sports commentator and writer, and just respected in the world of journalism, said, I was in college when Biggie and Pac were killed and thought there was no way we'd ever experience anything remotely close to that again. Now it's happening so frequently that you barely have time to recover before someone else is taken away.
Hmm.
RIP Takeoff. Let me get Black Man Unfiltered in here. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for making time to jump in. How you doing? I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, absolutely. How are you doing today? And good to see you, and good to see my brother Mandrell. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on?
Well, y'all run deep, don't you? Y'all support one another.
Yeah.
Which I love. So Mandrell's show, for those who were watching who don't know, who may not know, is on Black Man Unfiltered Network. So these are our brothers in this YouTube game, and I'm glad they're here. And I know, Black Man, you must have a lot to say because you stay unfiltered. His channel is amazing. A lot of great panel discussions. Y'all go a little bit later than my bedtime, but I do catch the replay oftentimes. Growing channel. Y'all go check it out. What were your thoughts when you saw the passing of Takeoff?
um, it's just one of those things that's been happening. I think a lot of people, um, it's getting so bad now that when it happens, people are not shocked anymore.
Mm,
Um, People, there was a shooting at a somebody posted online a couple of days ago, a shooting at a football game, and a guy shot four shots at a football game, and nobody moved. you know, Everybody just stayed there and watched the rest of the game. It's getting so normalized now that people are not. They just don't. They don't fear anything anymore. It's just normal. And so last night, I think that when I watched the news this morning, and they were talking about it, they said that he wasn't even the target. He wasn't even the guy that they
Mm-mm.
were trying to shoot. He just
yeah,
got in the way. He was in the way of the shooter.
yeah.
And so now, like I said, it was a family group. But I did want to say something about what Mandrell just said
Mm-hmm.
about the record. About being dangerous, and is it a dangerous profession to be a rapper? I think that when rappers back in the day, do you remember rappers back in the day, KRS-One and
Outcast is my
I,
favorite.
I mean, all these different rappers, they rapped about positive things about the country and what was going on in the country, what's going on with the president, what's going on in in the communities, right? Flavor Flav, man, listen, all those boys, they were rapping about
Fight
that.
the
Then
power.
right, right. Fight the power, right? And then you had NWA come out with F the police,
Yeah.
right? And then that's when it started to get more vulgar. And then they said, like Mandrell said, hey, listen, you're not making positive music. You're gonna make this negative music. But
Mm,
the thing is, and I know this is not gonna be sexy, but the thing is, who owns these record labels?
mm,
Who are forcing these black poor boys
mm,
to talk about their experiences and talk about it in the most vulgar way so they can make money off of them,
Yeah, I
mm.
right?
wasn't gonna get it. I wasn't gonna mention that because we saw it happen to Kanye. Just
Uh,
I,
uh,
I can take
so
the
I
point
was
without going
right.
into it And
Right.
like
I'm not going.
again,
Yeah. I'm not going.
we have about
Yeah.
35 more minutes, so I don't want
Yeah.
to
Yeah. I'm not.
belabor the
I'm not
point,
going.
but your point can be made. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not going. I'm not going to go deep into it at all. But the
Mhm.
same people that encourage this music and say you're not going to make anything positive, you're not going to change anything, you're going to keep it the same, are the same people. I'm going to say this and I'm done. The same people that Kanye are angry about right now and who he's talking about that got him ostracized.
Mm. Let me push back a little bit. You don't think they're black record label owners that are telling them the same thing?
No, I think they're black record executives because okay, let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you this. You remember Planned Parenthood? They
Mm-hmm.
used Planned Parenthood was a white woman that wanted to castrate all black men and wanted to sterilize all black women. But she didn't go down there and do it. She sent the black preachers and the doctors to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have to have
Margaret, I forget her last name. Yes.
right,
Mhm.
Margaret Sanger. So you have to
Singer.
have representation of your own people to fool you. So what happens is they'll go and they'll get these big record companies and like Clive Davis and all of them, and then they'll get the low executives, the black guys with the suits and the ties and the nice cars, and say, "Hey, go talk to them. You from the hood, you know what to tell them," and they use those lower executives to manipulate them into making more money and to selling their stories and to making more violent music.
Point taken. Mandrell, do you want to respond?
Well, I mean, he has it, but I wanted to address one of the questions you had, which is rap one of the is it one of the most dangerous profession to have? I say no. You're lucky to be a rapper, and to be a popular rapper, super lucky. You know, and that's just luck of the draw. It depends on who decides to pick you up and promote you and go through that whole thing. You know, so it's not that if you notice these people getting knocked off, it's not the job that's killing them.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they
The
put
silliness.
themselves. You're right.
Yeah.
So if you're a popular rapper, why would you go back to the hood?
You can't help it. That's all you know, Mandrell.
But the thing is, you know full well what that environment is. Those people are hungry. You know
Me
what
and
I'm
you might
saying?
get new
So
friends, but a lot of people don't get new friends. And I'm not saying that's like, I mean, the infrastructure might not be there for them to like move, and I'm not saying they should not, but let me read a couple of comments in the chat, and then I want to talk about Lakeith Stanfield's comments. Hey Mildred, good to have you here. Queen Regina said the shooter is from Migos team. Wow. And the other side were defending themselves. Okay, that's news to me. Wow. Yes, Sandy B. Law brings up a great point. If this was a private party, where was security? Security checks? I don't know. That again leaves a lot to question. Queen Regina got more of the tea, saying Quavo threw the first punch at the group who were there as their Houston protection after quote unquote checking in. Wow. Let's see. The common sense expert says record labels do promote the destruction of our community. Is it up to us to stop consuming it? I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. So they're supposed to have security. Where was security? Yeah. All about this music, says 40 Boom. You like the extra what could I call this? Violent music, but is that causing a mindset shift in young people, in people in general, such that we're seeing more and more? And I can't say just now, over the last 20 years, this shift happened. Of course, this is not the only thing. Don't let me fool you with the okay. I'm asking about the music, and I know there's a lot of other contributory factors, but tonight we're talking about music because of this untimely passing of a giant in, a member of the Migos in the hip hop community. So let's talk about music. Let's talk about whether or not it pays to be a rapper. TTO says, question, what was playing dice? This is a broken mindset activity. Again, I can't imagine, again, after you cross a certain threshold, you still doing things that you used to do. But Miss Globe Girl adds, at this point, we all know there's an issue that with gun violence, what are these rappers doing to take responsibility and make changes? We should stop using record labels as a scapegoat to this madness. Wonderful comment. Thank you. Queen Regina adds, Quavo surrounded by Houston people and he's getting aggressive and throwing punches over losing the game. All right. So some of this has still out there. We're going to read and I'm going to try to comment. Hey, how are you, Simon? Welcome, everybody. Hit the like button. Yes. We
Yeah.
were, I don't know about y'all, grew up on the Ice Cubes, the KRS Ones, and Jay Z, and TTO asked, would they be at a Dice game? Like, really? This is what we're doing?
All
Common.
right,
Probably.
hey Suzette. So I've made it to my destination.
Okay.
But I love you, girl. Keep up the great
We
work, my brother Mandrell. I know you finna drop some more dimes, and y'all have a great night. And if I can hop back on, I definitely will.
Sure, we won't be on too much longer, but I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Black Man Unfiltered. Check out his channel, y'all, and please support. Thank you for coming through. Question tonight is: being a rapper the most deadly profession in America, and does it have to be? And then the second half of what I want to ask is: are we tolerating in the community too much violence in our music? Is it having an impact on us, our kids, the community as a whole? Do we need to stop supporting some of this music? Is it, going to be the demise of our community? So if you want to answer either of those questions, the link has been dropped. You can join the conversation, please. I'm going to drop it again. But Mandrell, let me have you comment on this. This is a quote. Actor Lakeith Stanfield, you've seen him in some of the biggest dramas. Get Out. I remember his character was prolific in so many
Yeah.
others. Um,
He's in Atlanta, the TV show.
Atlanta, you know him
Yeah.
from the TV series Atlanta. Very talented brother. Put out a tweet today, and some people were saying it's ill timed, it's too soon, it's too crazy, and all this. And
Who's saying
he
that?
says I know people below his comments were saying not now, wrong time, and other people were of course supporting him. What you mean wrong time when we're fresh out of another traumatic loss? Maybe we need to really discuss why are we having loss after loss. Again, y'all hit the like button as you come in, please. But he said, if you are for gangster rap, you can't also be for black people, is the implication. What are your thoughts about this?
He's entitled to his opinion. That's a bit strong, in my opinion. He's entitled to his, but I think that's a bit strong. I see what he's talking about, though, and in some ways, I agree. But I don't think it's anti-black to support gangster rap because, again, the gangster rap is these. There's just these guys talking about their experiences. You know what I'm saying
Okay.
in the environment. So but at the same time, that doesn't mean because doing this takes away the personal responsibility of people who go out and mimic the behavior of the artist. You know what I mean? Like if they're
Understood.
talking about shooting someone like this, you then go out and do it because the artist says they did it. Okay,
Right.
personal responsibility on you. You know that that's wrong. You don't have to make that decision. So
Let me
that's why I say it's not anti-black, but
so you're saying there should be room for artistic expression from
absolutely.
what people are actually experiencing, your opinion.
Hmm.
I'm going to read a little bit more in detail about what Mr. Stanfield had to say. He said the dangerous toxicity associated with glorified black serial killers, this glorified black serial killer, and killed music, and imaginary got people imagery, excuse me, got people thinking, sorry, it's kind of small, got people think it's cool to hurt those that look like them and only them. Because again, gangster rap doesn't go to white neighborhoods and shoot up. It's only in these hoods. We just had an incident in Chicago, 14 people shot while trick or treating
Hmm.
weekend, right? So it's only in one place. No one is going outside of their domain, so to speak. All right. It's okay to embrace the realities of life, is what he's saying, as you echoed, in the hard areas, in the harder areas. But I'm sorry, I need my pointer. Let's think about not holding up this behavior in our circle. Let's make it cool to embrace life, travel, and learn new things. I know that scope of issues we have to contend with is much larger than just this. I'm saying the same thing, and that we have a lot of work to do in many areas to restore our hearts and minds after centuries of persecution and manipulation. But we have to start with, let me just finish this up, but we have to start somewhere at some level. We have to see our lives as valuable so that we think before we react and we see another human being. When we look at a human man, we must stop holding self-destructive stuff up and embrace things that build us as a whole so that we can lead the world in the direction of prosperity by example. Getting reckless now and then is a part of who we are, but for the most part, turn that stupid ish off. Now that you hear more about what he meant, what are your thoughts?
This makes more sense because he is acknowledging. But again, I can't call. I agree with this, but I can't
Mhm.
call people who support gangster rap anti-black.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Again, it's because it takes the personal responsibility off of the people who are going out. You know better than to go out and shoot somebody. You know
Mhm.
that.
You're
You know
supposed to,
exactly. You're
but you
supposed
got
to.
these young minds that are being shaped by it.
But they think it's cool and it makes them an alpha male or whatever. You know what I mean? So I get that, and I think that's part. A lot goes into this. Part of that is a failure on the parents' part. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And but the artists, I blame. You can't just blame just record executives who are
Right.
non-black, because you have black people who own record labels. You know what I mean? And they offer, what do they do when they get there? They offer their black artists the same shitty deals that they offered that people who non-black offer black artists. They didn't change anything.
Right.
And then they make the same demands. Okay, no, rap about this, rap about that. I'm not going to promote your album if you rap about something like this, and it's something positive. You know what I mean? They don't promote positivity. They go for the quick fix. Something they want an immediate return on investment.
Yeah. And again, we have been conditioned over the last 20 years. There are kids that have grown up like after, should I say, 90s rap. So all they've known is like Soldier Boy and beyond. So a whole generation has come up with, yes, party music, but I don't know. I mean, I know we have Kendrick Lamar. I know we have conscious rappers still. I'm not going to say there are no conscious rappers. But the majority of the mainstream success is being seen by people who are not necessarily promoting positivity. Oftentimes, you do have commercial success of the J. Cole's. Okay, yes. But a great majority, vast majority, are not singing what J. Cole is talking about or what Kendrick is talking about, etc. So again, I don't want to scapegoat only music, but I do want to ask, why are we listening to a lot of super violent, extra violent music? And if it's for adult consumption, I get it, but it's shaping our kids. That's the difference. When you're not having a positive role model at home, parents, dad, whoever, and you are listening to this is shaping your mind. So we have to really be conscious of everybody's not, growing up with at least one parent who got good sense, who is helping, or maybe a parent who is might be too just busy to be,
Mm-hmm.
properly shaping a young mind. This happens too. Not everybody is neglectful of their kids. Let me read a few of the comments. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all. I'm gonna back up a little bit and get some of these comments up. Thank you. The last good man in Jersey says, sneaking in here to drop a like. Why don't you? Simon says, I'm going to stop. Okay. I hope, it's something that we got to think about, guys, because we're just ingesting it. Yes, we're adults, hopefully. And thank you so much. Appreciate you, TBE Trucking. What up, sis? He says, he's probably on the road. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Always supportive of the content here. Thank you very much for showing love tonight. Let me read a few more comments. 40 Boom says, being a rapper comes with a price. He said, this is, again, standard. Why is everybody shocked? This is something that, uh, we need to accept as a cost of doing business. Queen Regina adds, Quavo record executives did not make Quavo play a dice game, then start a fight. It's not really them. It's just their personal responsibility for behavior that they, and unfortunately, participated in that was needless and senseless and led to literally a sad outcome, tragic outcome. 28-year-old man being cut down before his time. Super, super duper, super duper talented. I'll put up this comment because it's something that bothered me. Shout out to Mandrell for being with me tonight talking about the hard reality. Is it true that being a rapper is like a deadly profession? You might as well sign up for the chopping block. Is that standard? Is that how it should be? And do we as a community in the United States in particular, but around the world, tolerate senseless violence within our music? Right, and call it, oh, this is just real life. Hit the like button. This is a lady that I have on my Instagram that I follow. Didn't put her name, didn't want to put her out there. She said, please stop circulating the photo of Takeoff. It was really It was really traumatizing to see his lifeless body. It's the same thing they did several of these situations where, like XXX down here was laying in the parking lot out, with the door still open, half his body hanging in, hanging out, and people were posting it.
People are posting pictures of that.
Yes. His body, like him walking in, you could
See,
see the
oh,
hoodie, and then him laying on the ground, you could see it was him. It was really scary.
gotcha, Suzette. If I may,
Mhm. Go ahead. Go
there it
ahead.
is,
Go
right
ahead.
there. The
Hmm.
fact that think of what it takes to do that. They're not. It doesn't freak them out that there's a dead body there. It doesn't
Yeah.
freak them out that it's a celebrity that this person made like that's laying there. They want to get the picture and be the first one to post it.
Yeah.
Why?
That's
Because
his
it makes
body.
them. It makes me popular to do that. This is
Yeah,
the
it's a sad
mindset.
place.
Yeah,
It's a
this is the
sad place
mindset that
to,
we're dealing
yeah.
with,
It's a
and this
dehumanization. It's
exactly, and
you don't see yourself as human. You definitely don't see the next man as human. And then
exactly.
there's the expectation, like if I'm not gonna make it to 25, okay, I'm not shocked if he doesn't make it 25. It's a kind of very self-destructive mindset to have, and a
Mm.
cycle that will repeat itself. But yeah, saw this saying, please stop circulating the photo of Takeoff after he was um, taken away from us. He has a family who doesn't want to see him like that. Some of us have bad PTSD when it comes to these situations. I chose not to put that in my kind of notes today. But yeah, people have been circulating it, and on top of the loss, his friends, this other gentleman, I forget his name, the one that sings Panda, his reaction to it, he was crying on like an Instagram live. People were making fun of him. And I'm just like, they were actually pretty close from what I was reading. It was someone he actually knew, spent time with, and people were making fun of him for having such an emotional reaction to somebody's death. And I'm like, Lord, where have we come? Where, being anonymous on the internet allows you to do things that you normally wouldn't do in real life. So, want to hear some more of what you guys have to say. Is being a rapper the deadliest profession in our country? And do we as a community tolerate senseless violence in our rap music? Is that the problem, y'all? Last call for the panel. If you want to come up and make a statement, give us your opinion. Let me read some more. I know I'm a little bit behind in the chat. Shout out to everybody watching. ATL in the building. You set your own infrastructure, says TTOO. Okay. Simon, I'm sure I'm behind. You can say that about any high end profession. I hear you. Hit the algorithm. Thank you so much for hitting the like button if you're enjoying the content tonight. Mandrell 211 with myself here talking about the unfortunate passing of Takeoff. When you get rich, you go back to the hood and do hood stuff. Like Jeremy's confused. He's like, again, where they do that at? But you would be surprised. I'm thinking about, I can forget this football player's name. Several people have gotten taken out like this in Miami. Going back to the hood. Bro, you just got a contract. And the first thing you do is go right back to the block. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but people do it.
And I get it. That's what their friends are. Like you made reference to it earlier in the conversation. That's what their friends are. That's what they know. The problem is you came from a wolf den, right? So they're still wolves, and if they see fresh meat, they're gonna eat.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, they're friends of yours, but at the same time, now you become fresh meat for the pack. They're
Yes.
going to pounce. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
like you would think that people would know that by now, but no, they don't. They go by no new friends first and foremost, but again, they put themselves around people who are hungry and
mhm.
people who don't have what you have, envy you, sit with you, eat with you, and can't wait to take that thing off your neck. I've seen it happen so much. Miami is notorious for this,
Why would you
whether
wear that
you're a
kind of
rapper or
jewelry
not.
around your neck? Like I really don't wear jewelry at all. Okay, especially gaudy jewelry. I always saw that as a waste of money. If you're gonna, and some people try to
That's
justify
their
it by saying,
lifestyle. Their
yeah,
lifestyle
but
is the ice,
why?
ice.
Like
Yeah,
why? Like
it's
I've
silly.
never understood it. Why would you spend
Yeah,
all that
no, but
money on it?
again, it's a mentality of, if I've never felt valued, if I've always felt um invisible, in
Mm-hmm.
my hood, in my society, no respect, don't have a solid foundation of like a family or people that love me consistently in a safe place and accept me just for who I am, I'm gonna make the chain the biggest possible because I know you're gonna look at me then, you're gonna acknowledge me then, you're gonna respect me then. It's really sad. You laugh. It's people that do that all the time, yo. We talking about the one and only Takeoff, another unfortunate, tragic, untimely, sad. I can't think of another um, adjective to describe what is happening. Where every month, every week, every other day, we're rest in peace in somebody. What were you gonna say? Was there a comment that was crazy?
I was gonna say that the worst part of this whole thing is right.
What?
His it's his uncle's fault, and he's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life.
That right there is about to
Over
be a problem. If
over seven
allegedly,
thousand dollars.
yeah, allegedly, this is what's being reported. It was Quavo who was in the dispute. Quavo is Takeoff's uncle. And
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't even Takeoff who was involved and ends up being the sad victim of the circumstances. But yeah, I hear you. And that will be, if it turns out that is actually the case, that's what's being reported.
Yeah, he's gonna have to live with
Allegedly,
that.
it's going to be the saddest thing for him.
Yep.
Harrison Family Value says music shapes minds. We want to hold everyone accountable except the artists and the messages they send. Okay.
But when it
Uh,
comes to little kids, parents are the ones buying
that's what I'm
the
saying.
music.
Children are not necessarily supervised the way they used to, and they're like, okay, parental responsibility, but there are no parents. Like what? For certain communities, that's a luxury. People are working 2 and 3 jobs. Other people are
Yeah, that's
not
true.
responsible. They're just not responsible parents. You got food issues and things that I'm thinking about, like when I was reading about in Florida, how many people are actually food insecure and kids going to school, their only meal is at the school. That tells you about
Yeah,
economics. That tells you
that,
about responsibility. Some people cannot afford. I seen a guy. I was in the supermarket yesterday, and dude, all he had was ham. And I don't know this brother. I can't judge him from what's in his cart, but I was observing. Maybe it was for a party. I don't know. But a one thing of lemonade, like the lemonade mix, ham, bread, cheese, and mayo. I was like, the basics, like the
he's
basics.
gonna make sandwiches and lemonade.
I was gonna say he finna have a sandwich. I don't know if it's for the day or for the rest of the week, but it struck me. It was just like my cart is like fresh vegetables, fresh this, fresh that. And
Same
it
here.
just
Like,
it struck me that I'm looking at his cart and I'm like, God, let me not judge. I don't know this person from Adam. But it's hard to ignore when you see certain things. Ebony, I'm not sure. I'm sure he did probably do. I've seen his interviews today. I was watching some of his old stuff and interviews with Takeoff, and they were on Breakfast Club. They were everywhere. So I'm pretty sure yes, Nori did. I did see a clip with him and Noriega. So yes, some of these he was making the rounds, getting his flowers at 28 years old cut down. But TBA Trucking says we got to stop making excuses for black on black crime. Thank you for your opinion. Miss Glow Girl says we're past the stage of being on the fence regarding gangster rap. Like, take a stand. If hmm.
they're not
This is
gonna stop
not,
it
yeah,
though.
this is a whole nother genre, the drill music. I'm not gonna lie, I'll exercise to it. It has you for reps if you're pushing it out in the gym. Drill make you feel like you're invincible. But yeah, I can imagine kids bumping it every day, like the Bible in their head. It has to change you. Like listening to those lyrics every day, can't tell me a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, it does not shape them and shape their mind. It does. Um, hmm. I thought white kids were buying more rap than black people. Ebony, good point. But again,
They do.
the I guess the safety net is the parental, like how parents are actually shaping you in
Well,
addition to this.
it's culture. They grew up in a different environment than the kids who committed violence. And people like to equate violence to race. It's not. It's socioeconomic status.
More so.
Yeah, right. The more so than race, because there are a lot of black people who are in poor conditions, and it's the poor people. 9 times out of 10, it's someone who's poor or without who's committing a crime, and it's done out of survival or instinct, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah,
that's the
so let me
case. You don't see.
clarify. It's definitely for some people it's like a hobby or an escape, and other people it is their
Hmm.
reality. So I
Right.
think how people ingest it, regardless of skin color, I think is more so, as you're talking about, socioeconomics that
Hmm.
determine if you think this is really a way of life, or if you see this as kind of just an alternative, picture into
Right.
someone's imagination, right? It's people that are taking it with a grain of salt. There are other people that are literally thinking this is how you should live, the code. I don't have any other influences in my life telling me what the real code is. So I'm going by this as the code of manhood and whatnot. I'm here
Because let
with,
me tell you, Suzette,
yeah, Mendrell
go
talking
to some of
about,
these go to some of
yeah.
these poor white neighborhoods.
Oh no, it's scarier than what you
Yeah, exactly. It's you think the hood is bad?
No, and that's why I said socioeconomics
Please.
oftentimes is much more of a determinant of a lot of things.
Right. You just see
Early
the
onset
nonsense
of
we do in the
disease, early
news.
onset of, yeah. So this type of conversation can get very complex. So we definitely, to me, Ebony, it goes into other layers as well. We got about maybe 10 minutes. If anyone else wants to come up, let me read a few more comments. TBE Trucking says rappers want to show they can go back to the hood, and then this is what
You can't.
happens.
Unfortunately, you
Uh,
can't.
who are the parents behind this? Interesting. Harrison Family Value. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit. Those in hip hop with true talent go nowhere. Let's push a little harder.
That's a good point.
Instead of the I think about people from Miami called Island Boys. Have you ever seen these people?
Mm-hmm. Okay, a
Island boy,
little bit of it.
I'm an island boy. I feel like it's a mockery. I feel like it's again cosplay for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, sir. Queen Regina says drill music, specifically rap about known rappers harming other rappers and putting their crimes inside their listen. Y'all better be careful with that. Some of that is admissible in court, depending on the state. That we've seen a couple
Yeah.
of examples of
Atlanta
this.
now, Georgia now is using rap lyrics to indict people.
Listen, that can be problematic. They want to deny. Oh no, we were just making up stories. Were you?
Right. That's
Hip
just
hop,
and they're indicting people because of
yes,
lyrics. I'm
over
like,
rap lyrics.
you putting
Over
them under
rap.
indictment for that?
I know. We have evidence,
Wow.
Your Honor, is and put it in front of a grand jury and see if they want to charge. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
Let's go pick them up, and then there's a whole nother story. Your life
I
is
thought you still had to
already.
prove it though.
You do. You're gonna get your due process. You're gonna be a court of
But
law,
you're under
but
indictment all the same over something you
guess
said.
what? Usually, when they start looking, they find other stuff. That's the thing.
That's the
Now, when
thing.
they
Yeah.
serve the warrant, oh my God, what are all these guns over here? Oh my God, I wonder if these are legal. Oh my gosh, you got a stash of what? People are
Hmm.
they don't understand. A lot of these uh, search warrants, etc., open the door, and you
Yeah.
have rules. You have rules of evidence, civil procedure they call it, that tell you what you can legally um, present to the judge when you're doing a search for one thing. It can be very crazy. It can be, but people don't
Yeah.
understand
And
how
Suzette,
much they open themselves up to liability. Go ahead.
that's one of the reasons why in Alabama I don't need a license to conceal and carry. I don't need a license to buy a weapon, but I still went and got one. Still went
Mm.
and got my license. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, no. You have to. You just have
Yeah,
to be
it's a
very
hard.
careful.
Yeah, just the extra layer of security, and all of mine are legal too. Every single one of my
Exactly, but
weapons
you
is
just
legal.
still exactly. I'm gonna read a few comments. Simon, I see you in the back. You'll be my last guest. Harrison Family Value says hip hop is the only genre that requires quote unquote street cred to be successful. You got pop stars trying to get street cred. Do now. Talent
Yeah, for
is
what?
secondary. The harder you are, the more successful. The story coming into the game is super important. Miss AKA Lady Ads. I don't plan on stopping. My workout playlist is full of nothing good, but I'm not easily influenced. Of course, you're mature by it either. If the music alters me in a way I don't like, then I tune out. Very grown woman and responsible. But again, we know that kids are not as supervised and, quietly ingest all of this with or without their parents' permission. Yeah. There's a video on Twitter with him laying in his blood. Okay, that's sad. Simon Hector said every genre requires street cred. We may not see it within the black community. Yeah, I see it now. Everybody has a come up story. Out there, trucking says no one wants to say it, but I'll just say it. It's time we draw a line in the sand. If you support a death culture, hello somebody, you should be ostracized from our community. Why do we celebrate decadence with a badge of honor. I'll put violence in there too. The common sense expert, thank you so much, says it just shows us that these platforms don't care when black people are deleted. They show immediately, yeah, everything on the channel, all this, the people right next to him. I'm like, who called 911? Y'all ready with the cameras? Y'all ready with the cameras? But the empathy and the reality of what's happening in the moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, you take out your phone and record is the first thing. Anyway, let me bring up Simon. Simon, how are you? Were you in the dark, brother? How are you?
Can you hear me? I mean, that's the first thing.
We can
Oh,
hear
good.
you.
Oh,
You're
wow.
giving me
Yeah,
Halloween spooky, bro. You're giving me spooky.
yeah. No, because like, yeah, I'm on my work week, so like, I'm not even really supposed to be coming up on
Oh,
panels
your
or
time
anything.
in the UK is way different from our time. My
No,
bad.
this is just such a passionate sort of conversation, and it's just like I had a bit of experience, so I thought I could add a bit of value to it. Um, the first thing I sort of noticed was what a lot of people don't really sort of check is, when as an artist, like you're going into a 360 deal, so whatever people are seeing is manufactured. And I know like a lot of the new school sort of guys, they come up and they're like, oh, we're doing our own thing. They're not, right? So everything you're seeing, the chains, the bling, the clothes they're wearing, that's all a process. Like I've been through it. Like they will dress you up. They will make you look like something, and
They
they will
style
tell you,
you. They bring the people
yeah,
in and say, "This is the haircut you need. This is the clothes you need to look cool. I want you to have a nose ring. I don't want you to have an earring." I want people do this. It's not them who are the artist who is like dressing as a self-expression. Someone is manufacturing, as you said. Okay, understood.
yeah, and on the greatest level, they're very very good at it, and it's about who you actually sort of like. I could turn around and get an artist tomorrow, and that's what I will do. Check Puffy, check Dre, check any of the greatest artists. Turn around and the people that you sort of look up to, like even Snoop. Look at the last, that live that he done. He was still turning around and being the same Snoop that you saw 10, 20 years ago. At the end of the day, that's what it is. So how come we're not being educated about this in our own homes? So I do think it boils down to the parents. I'm not about to let my child be susceptible to something I do not want her or him to see, or be, privy to. And we need to get our heads around this and stop blaming like record labels and this, that, the other, because anyone can set up a business. You can set up a cafe tomorrow and start selling cheeseburgers. And if a parent walks in and goes, I don't like the taste of that cheeseburger, you're going to be like, well, go to McDonald's. It's business. We know this. Now, the part that comes in here to stop this violence is the education part. And that's very hard, because we've been susceptible to this entertainment for so long. Now, are we going to be able to wipe it out? No, because it's not just in the Black community. It's in all communities. It's just more prevalent in our community. And the funny thing is we don't want to let go of it, because it's just part of our lifestyle. It's part of us letting go of whatever we do on a day-to-day basis, because it's very difficult to just live.
It's our custom now. We think now in 10 years, we are like, oh no, this is crazy. And then 20 years later, it's your culture. Exactly. So questioning culture becomes difficult, because now you're like, well, I grew up with, but sir, 30 years ago, no one grew up with it. 40 years ago, no one grew up with it. So yeah, it's a conditioning. It's a conditioning that slowly gets you to accept that, oh wait, this is us. Is it us? No, right? We've always had a moral code, I believe, within the Black community that has totally been shredded and commercialized into this kind of, again, like this anything goes warrior. No, people killing grandmas and children. There was a code against that. All of a sudden, you were like this wild individual with no sense of I don't know, morality. It's just like a corrupted spirit. That was not the hero when I grew up. But we are becoming conditioned to accept that as like, oh no, that's how black people. No, that's not how black people are.
At the moment, like we're like in the 2 minute generation. So it's like anything that's 2 minutes is cool. Like we haven't even got we're leaning onto goldfish.
I know, with focus, yeah, and being able to read and to think critically and to do other things and to question what is being posted and why and by who and how to identify a reliable source, etc. No, the dumbing down of society as a whole across nations is quite obvious, and to what end. But we have to wake people up as much as we can. Let me get this comment in. Out here trucking, boop boop, yay, thank you so much. The big super chat sponsoring today's show. Out Here Trucking says, I own a firearm for home defense only. I sporadically go to the gun range, and I could never imagine using my firearm because someone stepped on my shoes or had a petty argument. That's not who got these pieces these days. There's a serious level of mental illness in our community, atrophy of the brain. Again, and I would solidly put behind that, like, again, failure of proper moral conditioning or compass or inculcation or raising. I don't know what the word is. Sorry, I kind of use my big words when I get ready, but it is a scary thing of, again, I don't necessarily understand, and maybe that's what your point is, Simon Hectic, that we don't necessarily make these images. These images are made for us. I get your point.
I would say I'll chill after this, and I would just say that this has been going on, like, anyway. Like, and the only thing is it's in our face. That's the only difference. Like, it's out here. We've got access to it. It's on, wherever we turn. Most people don't even watch TV nowadays. They're on social media. It's been going on. It's just we're now talking about it because we've got access to be able to talk about it. And then the emotions get fueled a bit more. Because of the fact that, the people that maybe it didn't reach before that were speaking and shouting and created, factions to actually try to counter it, are now the people that are just civil. Like, the people that used to be able to just, that was susceptible to it, that knew that it was going on before, they would form factions and try to counter it in a political way or in a sort of sensible way. But because now you've got, like, just, civilians out here and they're just looking at it and everyone's just sort of going back and forth like it's just like a normal conversation.
It's nothing.
It's not a normal conversation.
And that's why I applaud. Thank you, Doug, on the super says you tried Miss Dolores C. Tucker. We didn't listen. Who is Dolores C. Tucker? Does anyone know? I'm ignorant. I'm so sorry, Doug. Put in the chat who this is, please. I want to be, like, genuine. I don't know who this is, but I really want to know. And please, and thank you for the super chat and for being my moderator. To the team, RM, Doug, doing your thing. This is what I want to ask you, Simon, before I let you go. There was a time where the Black celebrity and Black musician spoke up about ills in the Black community. Rest in peace, Sidney Poitier. Rest in peace, Ruby D. Rest in peace, Diane, or she might be still alive. Sorry, Diane Carroll, and others who saw and said, we're not this. We need better roles. We need better representation. My career would have been different if I were not Black, because y'all limited me to, mammy roles or whatever. Shout out to Cicely Tyson, rest in peace. They spoke up. Do you think in this culture we've seen enough of that, or can celebrities make these political stances that you speak of?
I think it's just a seldom seen. And I got taught that by someone who had a very good experience in the actual entertainment industry from England going over to America. He was taught through the Shakespearean Globe. Now the thing is there's just a juxtaposition, and there will always be a juxtaposition, and that's what he said to me. There's going to be I don't even want to go there in terms of, our face and our color and what we look like and how we represent ourselves and who we are. There's one side of us and there's another side of us. Now, we have a conversation on one side and try to compare ourselves to the other side, and there is never going to be a comparison. You can't merge the two when you're trying to move forward. What you got to do is move forward first, and then try to make the others look at it. It's like politics. So just try to sort of, fuse the two rather than trying to make them come together at the same time. Because what's happening right now is we're trying to have a conversation at the same time with people who are on one side understand one thing and on another side they don't. Unfortunately, it's not their fault or anything, but I'm just saying they don't. So that's why I sort of tuned into your channel in the first place, because when I saw you speak, it was like Suzette Speaks. I got that. It was like that's a representation.
And I understand. Thank you, brother. I don't mean to cut you off. We're almost out of time,
That's
but
cool, that's cool,
I
that's
understand the premise of what you're saying. It's why politics is the way it is, I feel, in the United States. People are dealing with two different versions of what they call truth, multiple different versions of what they call truth, what they call fact, what they call morality, what they call, which I say culture. And I agree with you that sometimes when we approach it, I assume personally, and maybe others, like, oh, we're on this page, and based on people's realities, based on people's exposure or lack thereof, et cetera, that might not be their realities. Am I capturing what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the same within the entertainment industry. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Basically.
Well, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming up, adding your thoughts, and I always enjoy listening to my perspective. You know what I wanted to ask you? So over in the UK, is something like this covered broadly and widely among the Black community, among the wider British community? Was Takeoff's death seen?
We've got Idris Elba and and a couple of the few that made. Who makes it over makes it over. What happens is we just transcend it over to America. The population
y'all just listen to our news, watch our outlets.
We just come over. The population's too small. It's just like
okay, so it might not be on the BBC, but y'all gonna find out because
you'll see the most prominent Black person on the BBC, but then you'll see them in America, and then they'll be taking up your roles, and the Americans will start complaining about it. But that's cool, man.
That's a whole other thing. British actors playing American roles. We'll say that for another day. But thank you, Simon. Appreciate you.
All right,
thanks so much for being here. Always enjoy having you pass through. Thanks so much. And again, sad reporting today, talking about this gentleman. A lot more we can say, guys, but we're almost out of time. Thank you for showing love in the chat. Let me read a couple more out here. Trucking says celebrities do not want to risk messing up their money. Hello, that's where I was getting at, to be political. So whether the freedom, I guess, once you made it, maybe after you made a couple coins, but then you don't want to mess up the future projects. So people toe the line just enough. And I honestly can't blame them. I really can't, because they got to eat. It's not like we're 2 and 3, some of us, majority of us, in terms of our wealth, 2 and 3 generations away from, like, okay, this person didn't go to college. This person, had a manual, heavy, working class job. Like, it's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just saying we're not far from what is a hand-to-mouth living. And oftentimes, once we do make it, we trying to ensure that we can sustain it. And again, shout out to everybody in the working class that you consider themselves working class. Ain't nothing wrong. All I'm saying is when you leave that, get celebrity as a rapper, get celebrity as an athlete, get celebrity for acting or whatever else. Do your values really go with you? Do they change in order to keep your money right? Do they change in order to keep new friends, etc.? So yes, I agree with you. This has been a crazy conversation. I thank everybody who has come up on let me see. Miss Dolores banged the drums against rappers calling Black women. Oh, thank you for schooling me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for schooling me, Queen Regina. Let me see. Doug says, let me put it up. Sorry. Congresswomen in California that tried to stop gangster rap during the 90s. Congresswomen in California tried to stop gangster rap during the 90s and called out Tupac. Really? So much history there.
Yeah, they did actually. I
Did
remember
they?
that.
Yeah. I'm
In the
trying to recall.
'90s, especially
Yeah.
remember when NWA came out and how the president even spoke about gangster rap.
Yes, it was a big deal.
George
It
H.
was a
Bush.
big
Gangster
deal.
rap was persona non grata in the early '90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew says we no longer have couth in our society. Our group has accepted lesser behaviors. Kids want to imitate, want immediate, gratification. Guys, we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna let Jarrell 211 get the final word here. So much more we can say. I really, Miss AKA Lady says, I really just hate that's how he went out to have such a successful career. Honestly, so much more to come. And to have finished with a headline taken out by a dice game, right? All your talent, all of your wonderful, multifaceted parts of you. And that's the headline of your death. It is so, it's sad. It's sad. We got to rehumanize ourselves, guys. We got to rehumanize others, and we got to hopefully reach people for whom this is like a reality. This lifestyle is like a reality for, and maybe again, change the fact pattern of what they believe is truth, what they believe is fact. So final thoughts. Again, if you are watching Team Replay, hit the like button. We're headed out. Again, is it the deadliest career in America to be a rapper? And does it have to be? And do we in the Black community accept too much violence in our music? Is it time to stop consuming it? Is it time to make a stand? Are we partly to blame for the commercial success? And is it time to do something about it? Y'all, I appreciate you being here, Mandrell. Thank you for being here. Your final thoughts on those two questions.
Final thoughts on those two questions. We accept too much, not only violence, but just nonsense in general in our community, especially in our music. We accept too much violence. It's too much. We don't have R&B anymore. R&B is dead. No one's making love songs anymore. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, I think that has sums them both.
Mandrell said, if y'all don't get it together, let me just say no, it is too much violence in our music nowadays. So much more we can add to this conversation. Again, we really just scratching the surface, but time is upon us. Thank you so much. Queen Smiley Rule says, great conversation. Shout out to the panel. This is a truly sad situation. We know better. We should do better. We can't keep excusing our people. Thank you again, RM, for being here. Thank you so much, Jeremy, on the super chat for supporting. Thank you, Queen Regina, for your commentary. I couldn't get to all of it, but you seem to know the tea of what happened. But Jeremy, thank you so much. Shout out to Out Here Truckin' says, let me see. Question, Suzette. Since our community is so fractured, do you think it's over for the Black community? Will we ever come together? Now, we out of time, Jeremy. You're going to ask this type of deep, philosophical question.
I could answer them.
Come together like other ethnic groups and thrive in this country like they do. Jeremy, my true family, I wouldn't be on here if I didn't think so. I think the answer is yes, but it's almost going to take an equivalent to a social root canal, because I think there are elements that we tolerate, mindsets, moral codes or lack thereof, ideologies, even that's been discussed here and other places about how a man and a woman work, and the room to love people who are not rich and famous. Like, there are so many things that have to be recalibrated. I think it can be done small chunks at a time. But to me, that question is almost like a 30 to 50 year project, maybe 20. But
that's it.
You don't think we can fix the Black community in 50 years?
No.
Awesome. Well, let me hear your thoughts on this. Thank you.
This is going to take about 80 to 100 years. Wow. It's going to take so much. It's going to take so many people willing to do the right thing for so long, and to do so much,
and to not tolerate,
and to not tolerate it, exactly,
and call it out and bring some shame back.
And you have to teach generation after generation after generation to do this because what we have is a result of hundreds of years of social engineering.
I would say even
And
in the
this is the
last
result.
40 years of social engineering has
Yeah,
dismantled us. But
a
on
lot,
top of
but
you, I agree with you with the long
yeah,
view. I'm not disputing that.
yeah. I mean, it's just we're not fractured, we're broken, and it's going to take so much that there's no way we're coming back. Thanks to Joe Biden.
I don't think so, Mandrell.
He wrote the crack laws in the 80s, and he wrote the crime bill in the 90s.
Mandrell, I'm
That
not
buried
going to get
us
on you with Joe Biden. You are saying there's no way we can come back as a
because
community.
because of the human element, because of the human condition.
It would
we're
take
not
a
coming
lot
back.
of individual healing and
Yes.
processing of one's own idiosyncrasies, shortcomings, traumas, whatever you want to call them, in order to, and reading and
See
learning
that
from,
part of that?
like,
See, reading
deep-
us.
If you don't want to read, use the podcast, use those things, but you got to listen to, because the thing is, when you read or when you kind of listen to people who've already lived life, you're so much smarter, because a lot of things in life don't change, right? You think, oh, it's 100 years. That's why I like watching historical stuff.
Same here.
It's literally human nature, for the most part, has the same elements as it has always had. It manifests in different ways now that we have modern technology, modern this, modern that. But no, the heart of a man, the heart of a woman, the deep kind of bare bones nature that makes us human is, to me, it is continuous. And every generation hopefully will have learned something from the prior generations. But now it's almost like we're reinventing the wheel and learning life, and like for no reason, through the hard knocks. Like it's almost like, why didn't you listen to grandma? Why didn't you listen to grandpa? Why didn't you listen to great grandma? Or
Well, the
whatever
older
you have
generation, also
the
you have the
luxury
older.
of having your uncle, your auntie. They lived it. They have a 20-year, 25, 40-year, depending on when they had you, advantage. And we still acting like, we're a culture that worships youth and beauty and these people are amazing. No, they really have navigated nothing. They haven't proved nothing. They haven't gotten through nothing. So bringing back to me the elders, and really elders with sense, because now I'm seeing a lot of elders online acting up. Or I'm talking about true elders. I'm not just talking about people who are older with age wise. But this is a deep conversation. Listen, this might be my first question that I might use as another show.
Bring me back for it.
Deep thought. Thank you, Jeremy.
Bring me back for it. If you,
know,
I'll be here. I'll be here for that. Whether you invite me back or I'm just in the chat.
Thank you, Miss AKA Lady. I'm not the only one. It's not over for the Black community. Yes, Brother Mandrell letting us know it's going to take 250 years to read.
Yes, it will. We're done.
God.
We're done.
Queen Regina said we black to the slave mind.
It's a wrap.
Doug says we have thousands and thousands of Black women and men screaming how much they can't stand each other on a basis.
Right, exactly.
First we have to get yes, I agree. Like I said, the moral code has been broken. First we have to get on the same page as to what is the right thing. I know.
Good luck with that, Suzette. Exactly. See what I'm saying? Read us.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Right now we are multi-layer, and it's on purpose. All Black people used to be much more monolithic. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
We're a diverse group with diverse perspectives. I don't think we will think the same way. No, not for right now. A good majority might have similar values, similar upbringing. And I'm thinking about generations, maybe now, boomers, X's, YZ. Yeah, Mandrell, I gotta go. I'm sorry, Mandrell.
No, it's
Black free minds and Black slave kitchen minds.
It's no one important, I promise you.
Then you say this generation and the next 5 have to die out before they have any.
I'm trying to tell you, Suzette, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Oh.
I'm willing to do the work because first of all, myself, myself and you, people of our generation.
Maybe they'll find our work on YouTube later on and be like, "Yay!"
Hopefully, we have to accept the fact that we're not going to be alive to see the fruits of our labor.
I rebuke that. I might be.
We're not. I mean, it's going to take too long. 20 or 30 years. Good luck. Good. If we all adopted the same general mindset, yeah.
Mandrell, I'm optimistic. Right here, I gotta pause us. Y'all so
it's
funny.
It's going to take us about 80 to 100 years.
You're like,
I'm optimistic though.
Yeah. You're like not 250, 80 to 100.
We can, yeah, we can do it. It's possible.
God.
But
that makes my heart hurt.
When you look at things full circle.
leaving out all the negativity behind. Doug says on a positive note. My homecoming was like, thank you, Doug. And it was 20K, 20,000 professionals and successful Black people all together in one place. No one fighting and not one gunshot. Hallelujah. See, it can be done.
Anecdotal.
Again, I think poverty has infiltrated what is being called Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
So the economics thing has changed our mindset a lot. Crabs in a barrel for some, and we're losing our edge. The right thing is basic decency, respect. We're building a foundation. I know Chemo says we might be wiped out in 250 years. That's a long time.
I said 80 to 100 years.
Nice to see you, Chemo.
I said 80 to 100.
So much more that we can say, y'all, but we gonna go. Let me let Mandrell go. Peace be unto each of you. Thank you, Mandrell, for a wonderful conversation and for joining me. Y'all, I'm going to Jamaica for a funeral. You'll see a couple clips coming up in the next few days.
Sorry to hear that.
I hope you. Thank you. Yeah, we got to pay homage. And so when I get back, I'll have a few new faces. I'm really excited for November. And shout out to my Patreon community. We got for our November special guest, Brown Gal Peace Lounge. If y'all don't know, I have a Patreon community, which I put out exclusive. While I'm in Jamaica, I'll definitely do Patreon. So if you want exclusive content that you can only get members only, not on YouTube, check me out on patreon.com/Suzette Speaks. And don't forget, subscribe to my brother Mandrill. He's here. And what is your day again on Black Man Unfiltered?
Wednesday nights at 8:30
So
Central.
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So check him out tomorrow, 8:30. Again, if you're watching Team Replay, hit the like button. Appreciate y'all being here. More to come on the Suzette Speaks show. Y'all have a great evening. Hit the like button. Thanks for watching. Bye now, everybody. What are you talking about? Do not subscribe.
You say a Chicago Rilla because I don't like Kanye. That's why. Because I don't like Kanye. That's why Rilla says that.
Appreciate you, RM. Thank you, Doug, and my moderators.
I love Chicago Rilla.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Jeremy, for sponsoring the stream. Y'all have a great night. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye now.